Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Today's video, I've got 3 projects for one customer. The first project is a dog platform from the ground area to a raised planter area about 3 feet high. The dog's getting old and they want to be able to have a platform with a few steps to have the dog be able to get up into the upper area of the yard there. The next is a 5 foot tall by 5 foot wide section of iron fencing. And then the third item is a section of fencing and a gate that goes along with it. That overall length is about 10 feet long. The gate's going to be about 3 feet wide, and that height is going to be about just under 6 feet. Be a fun little project. Let's get started in today's video. Today's video is sponsored by King Metals. They've got all your fabrication needs in one location. From hinges to hardware, balusters to metal decor, brass to aluminum, and a whole lot more. You name it, they've got it. Check them out today at kingmetals.com. Now let's get back to today's video. All right, we're going to get started here on the first project. This is going to be the little step or dog ladder, if you will, up to the raised area so the dogs can get up there. I'm using some 1-inch square tube, and this is 0.95 wall thickness here. Now, one thing I want to point out is I just want to let everybody know that there's all the comments that come in, I personally read every single one of them. There's not one comment that does not go by unread by me. And I appreciate all the comments. I learned from a lot. You guys have a lot of input here. And I just during the course of this video, I'm going to try to answer some of the questions. So the first one here is, what am I using? This is the Evolution 15-inch cutoff saw. I'm not certain why they call it a 15-inch. It only accepts a 14-inch blade, or there only are 14-inch blades, I should say. But nevertheless, that's what it is. I love it. It works well, and I'm very happy with it. And I'm accompanying that with a Champion Brute Platinum cutoff blade. And Champion is a longtime channel sponsor here. Their products are A+, and I'm proud to be a part of them. Proud to use their products here. Everything works really good. So there's a lot of cuts here because this is something that I build or I design as I go along right here. And there's going to be a lot of changes. I do have a sketch that I'm going by right here, and I'm going to probably make some changes as I go along, which I know I will, and you'll see that as we go along. You'll see the black marks I put on, Sharpie marks, ahead of the game a little bit. I've got some square marks, some dimensions, and I'm kind of lining that up. There's a lot of angles and a lot of different pieces going into this first part of the puzzle right here. And, the beauty of having a fixture table is you can just clamp everything down right where it needs to be. And you're good to go. All right, I'm double checking my measurements here. I think I've got it. This is good. And I'm just going to tack the first part of this frame together right here. Like I said, it's just like a step, if you will. It's going to go up to a raised area. This is for the dogs. One of the dogs is getting kind of old and having a hard time jumping 4 feet all the way from the grass to this raised area that they like to go up on. So hopefully this is going to help ease the pain for that older dog getting up there. All right, I'm on the second. Obviously need 2 pieces to make this work. This is the second one right here. Just getting it all tacked together. I probably could have made a jig and just put it in there, but I'm only using 2 pieces right here. So with the fixture table and the table dogs, it's good enough. It's going to work fine. All right, there's the 2 pieces. I'm pretty happy with that. Before we connect them all together, I want to do as much as I can by welding these things all the way out, all the way around. This is going to be in the grass area, so there's some irrigation in the area, and the last thing you want is any open welds or where water can get trapped inside the tubing, and you just don't want that. So nevertheless, that's something I do with all my projects anyway, is just weld everything all the way out, all the way around. I just think it makes for a better job, a cleaner job. All right, one thing I want to point out too, we've got a brand new welding helmet here. This is the Akitech. This helmet here, by the way, unsponsored. This is just something that I have. When I was at FabTech this year, I noticed that this company had a real small booth, and I took interest in this helmet they had there. Started asking questions about it, and it It's not on the market. This is a prototype. And I said, hey, well, when this thing comes about, this is something that I think I want to give a try. And sure enough, they reached out. They said it's available. I got one of them. And I got to tell you, it's amazing. Super, super lightweight. The headgear is really easy to adjust. It conforms to your head really easy. No batteries, no plug-in, no on-off switch. Just put the helmet on and go. Now, it does have a one-time lifetime battery that's a 10-year battery, non-replaceable. But, I mean, if this welding helmet lasts you 10 years, hey, well, good for you. But, hey, super nice helmet. All right, you can see that I've got everything clamped together right here. And I got every clamp I have here just to be sure everything's nice and square. It isn't awkward. You can see that it's the way it's laid out. It's just awkward. I got it clamped down, just trying to get everything to where it needs to be. And everything is going to, be square when I weld it up. Again, this is just something that I designed in my head and scratched it on a piece of paper, and I'm hoping that it works. Keeping a lot of different things in mind. I didn't want to have it sitting flat on the grass. I've got some legs that are sticking up about 4 inches there. Hopefully that's not going to pose too much of a problem for corrosion, with irrigation, and stuff like that. So anyways, I'm sure it's going to, over time, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of an issue, but should last a while. All right, just tapping everything into place, getting the last final bits here welded in and tapped into place. There it is the next day, and you can see I have my original welding helmet on for this one. That is such a nice helmet that I can't have it just laying out in the shop because it gets dust, it gets dirty, and I'm trying to protect this thing. And so I left it in my shop and in a bag for this part of the deal. So I got my old helmet on here for this section right here. But just welding everything together here, tons of welds. I mean, for such a small little project, there's just tons of welds in something like this. And then I like to grind my welds clean. If you guys follow my channel regularly, I like to grind the welds that I can get to or that are exposed. It just makes for a cleaner job. And of course, I'm using a Champion cutoff wheel, 60 grit ceramic. This is my go-to. 60 grit seems to be the best. I've got a lot of different grits, but I really like the 60. It seems to be the best. All right, here's something that at the last minute again, I'm going to be putting some expanded metal on the stair treads and the stair risers for this, and I just didn't want to cut it out and weld those treads to the top of that 1 inch. It was just a sloppy job. It doesn't seem to be clean, so I decided at the last minute here that I'm going to put some 1/2 inch angle iron, recess it down about 1/8 of an inch on all of these, at least the treads and the risers. That's where I'm going to be putting the expanded metal. Now that was a lot of extra work, but you know what? It just seemed like the right thing to do, and that's what I did. It was just a bunch, but at the end of the day, you'll see that it turned out pretty good. I just didn't want the dog, if he was going to be jumping up on this, to catch his paw or something on a sharp edge of this expanded metal that would be maybe welded to the top. All right, you see how that fits in there? It's nice and recessed and flush in there, so I liked it, so I went ahead and just did the rest of it that way. And that's the thing about these projects. You get into them, and you don't really know how much it's going to take to build it. You just kind of change your plans as you go, and this is just what I did on this one right here. Sometimes I just can't stop. I just got to go and go and go, and just don't know when to say it's good. But anyways, this was a bunch of work to get all this in, but it was the right thing to do. All right, and this is just expanded metal, Champion cutoff wheel right here. And I'm just, I think this is called 3/4 flat expanded metal. There's a raised expanded and there's a flat expanded, and this is the flat. The raised is a little sharp for me. The flat is more smooth, and that's what I like to work with. It's pretty sturdy, it's pretty strong, especially there's a small area right here, so it's not like it's going to collapse if you put some weight on it. All right, down to the last piece right here. I got all the components now cut out. It's time to get them welded in. And you can see they fit right in there. And I'm just getting some welds all the way around just to hold everything in place. The client told me what they were going to ultimately do is put some sort of like indoor-outdoor carpeting or some sort of padding on the risers and the treads so the dog's paws don't get hung up in this, and it'd be more of a smoother transition. So that wasn't part of my deal. That's something they're going to do after the fact. Again, this helmet is amazing, and you'll see me using this in the future a lot. They offer a couple of different colors. I think there's black, 2 shades of blue, and this red right here. At the time, red is the only thing they had available. I said, that's fine. I'll go ahead and get that one. But I think I'm going to go ahead and order up maybe a blue one and a black one, because these things are, I can't say enough about it. They're super nice. I think the price point is really good too. I think they're coming out right around $270, I think. Yeah, where, man, there's some helmets out there that are upwards of over $1,000, and you know, it's just a pretty good deal. All right, so there it is right there. It's all complete, and that's the first part of the deal. And now we're moving on to the next piece. Now this is the side panel with the gate. I'm using a 2-inch square tube for the frame on this, and we're going to be putting some 5/8 pickets in there and some screen on the back. They wanted some privacy screen on the back of this section with the gate. All right, so this is 095 material. The reason why I'm using this is I'm actually concreting a part of this post into the ground, and I just wanted some thicker material. I typically use 063 for stuff like this, but for the posts, a little bit thicker material, and you know, it should last a little bit longer. All right, well, back over to the welding table, and we'll get started here. You can see I'm referring to my drawing again. This will be the side panel. It's roughly, I don't know, I want to say it's 6 foot tall by 6 foot wide, something like that. I don't really know the exact dimensions, but it's pretty close to that. Then the gate's going to be about 3 feet. All right, just double checking here. I want to be sure that everything is going to be nice and square. Clamp everything down. It's pretty much the same procedure I do for all this. And the point of me going through all this and showing you this is I get a lot of people in the comments that are just asking me, how do you go about building a gate section or a fence section? You know, and so this is the whole point of me showing you this, to show you how to do it. Let's just say you had 100 feet of fencing, and you know your panels are, you know, 6 or 8 feet panels at a time. Once you get one built, you just repeat it, and it's the same thing. And so that's kind of what I'm showing you here, how I do it and how it's done, in case you want to do something like that. All right, I'm checking for squares. Obviously, checking diagonal from corner to corner gives you square, and if you match that dimension from corner to corner, that means it's perfectly square. I'm double checking again, and right there, perfect. When you're there, that's when you start welding everything in. You can see the long leg right there. That's the part that's going into the ground. I think I've got it figured so there's about 3 inches of space between the ground and the bottom rail. The rest of it's going to be in a concrete footing. And that's going to help support this, and the other side of it's going to be connected to a block wall where I'll have a couple of tabs welded on the back side, and I'll anchor that to the block wall, and that's going to give its rigidity. All right, we got everything all welded and ground up. It's time for the pickets right here, and I'm just cutting. These are 5/8 pickets, and I'm just cutting 4 at a time right here. Let's just make it a little bit quicker and faster, and then just lay them right out in there. All right, so here we go. This is a big controversy in the comment section all the time. I'm old school. I use wood blocks. And there's a lot of people that say, oh, there's dimensions. You just measure the length or the width, and you divide that by whatever this is, and a lot of math, and that's how you can do it. It works out perfectly. But you know, I've been doing it for years this way, and I probably am not, to be honest with you, I'm not going to change. Now, I did notice there is a new tool out there that's an expandable, like a scribe. Maybe you guys have seen it. I saw it on Instagram where something like this, you just open it up and it has points of where you can just open it up and mark the rails, and it's perfectly in the center and laid out. That's a good tool. I'll have to check in. Maybe that's something I might want to do. All right, with everything welded down, you can see my pickets are welded flat to the table because that's what I need to have the screen on the back side. And this is the post for the gate. I want to get this welded on now so I can remove this section of fencing and just build the gate. And I know that when I build it and drop the gate on, it's going to line up perfectly to the top. So that's why I'm pre-welding the hinges on here, so it's not awkward later on when I go to finish this. When you weld these weld-on hinges like this, it's very important that you get these hinges nice and straight. And when you do, you can see they work perfect that way. If they get out of alignment, man, it's a bad day. And then once again, I've mentioned you only weld on the flat they provide on the hinges right there and nothing else. This is what it's designed to do. It's going to be plenty strong, trust me. These hinges here are 4-inch hinges, and I believe they have about a 300 or 400 pound capacity. So plenty strong. All right, I flipped it over here now, and I'm just finishing welding the back side and gonna get all this ground down. Like I said, the pickets are flush to the back because we're gonna put the screen on this, and we want that screen to fit flat to the back side. All right, got all that done. Gonna grind everything down. Of course, we're working off the HGP Revolution 2500. Amazing machine. And then here is the screen. Now this is, I'm not certain the exact terminology for it. The holes are a 16th of an inch in diameter. I don't know if it's called 16th inch screen. I'm not certain what it is. I use it if you want privacy. It gives you a good sense of privacy. You can look out of it if you're behind it looking out. You can look out and give that ability. Looking in, it's a little bit difficult. All right, you can see how I'm attaching it right here. I've got some 3/4 inch by 1/8 inch flat bar strap, and that's what I use to hold it down on the perimeter on the outside. Can't have enough clamps. Man, you got it. It's important that you clamp everything down nice and tight. If you don't, it sticks up, and it's just not going to be happy. So you just gotta do it this way right here. Plenty of clamps to keep it clamped down. And if you don't have this many clamps, you just go a little bit at a time. You know, you maybe put 2 or 3 on, make a couple welds, then move the clamps on down. But, you know, it's nice to have plenty of clamps to get it all done in one shot. All right, and then this is the, I couldn't make it all the way across because it only comes in 4x8 sheets. And so I have to add this little extra piece right here. And I just used it and split it, divided it right in between a picket. So it's 3/8 of an inch overlapping on a picket, and then that flat bar on there is what sealed it off. And I just used screws for that right there, holding it down. And what I do is just like you said, you see here about an inch bead, and you know, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches apart right there, and that's way overkill, but that's the way I do it. And then the center gets screwed down into the pickets. Now, I know I'm going to get blown up in the comment section. Dude, wow, why aren't those screws in a nice straight line? I know. You know, I probably should have made my dimensions, my measurements, and snapped some lines and made it look better and put the screws exactly in a straight line. That's a better way to do it. I totally agree. I got sidetracked, and hey, it is what it is, but you learn from your mistakes. The next time, that's the way I'll do it. All right, that's the side panel. This is the gate. It's the same process. I'm going to go through here fairly quick because it's basically the same thing. I got the table dogs on one side and table dogs on the other side. Clamp everything down. That gives you your perfect 90 degree. Then I attach the remaining 2 pieces in, clamp them down. And if you do that, 99% chance it's perfectly square. And I'm checking it, and right on the money. All right, let's gonna weld this thing out. I'll tell you something here. You see I'm wearing a bib and some sleeves. Now, this is from Black Stallion. Great idea. I have a bad habit. I wear long sleeve shirts, and I do a lot of quick projects in and out. It's the right way to do this, put a welding jacket on for any welding that you're doing. What's been happening is I've been not doing that, and I'm burning holes through my sleeves on my shirts, and so I have got to change things up when I'm getting into some, a lot of welding like this. I'm gonna have to put a welding jacket on, or at least this apron and some sleeves, if I want to save my shirts. I mean, these things aren't cheap, man. Long sleeve shirts are like $17 a piece, and I burn holes through them, and it's no fun. All right, here we go. We're moving along quickly right here. Basically, it's the same thing. The gate is done. Same welding the flat strap on there, and some screws and some welds, just to repeat the process. Actually, the apron and the sleeves is very comfortable. And that might be something that I may have to try to remember to do. It's hard. You just get in a habit, and sometimes habits are hard to change. Just like me not wearing a glove on my left hand. I just never do it. All right, back at the screws. Again, no rhyme or no reason, not in any order. I shouldn't say that. I did measure, and they're equally spaced, but I didn't snap lines diagonally to make them right perfect, but hey, next time I'll make it happen. And then the very last thing is the thumb latch. The customer just wanted a simple thumb latch on this. This is going to be going on the side of the house, so nothing real crazy or decorative, just something to keep the gate closed and keep people from looking in. All right, with that done, this is the very last section right here. This is a very simple section. It is replacing a section of fencing that is 5 feet by 5 feet. And what was there was completely rotted out and dilapidated and just about falling apart. He had it braced up with some wire and just barely hanging on. And it's just something that he wanted me to replace. And so what they had there was 2-inch square tube for the posts. They had 1.25 inch square tube for the top and bottom rail, 5/8 pickets, and that's what I went with here, and that's what we're using. You can see that I've got it spaced up, the 1.25 inch spaced up to the center of the 2-inch tube. And then the pickets are in. And then my old trusty method of the blocks. And then they're spaced up. Wow, it looks like 3/4 inch space just to get them right in the middle of the 1.25 inch tube there. So that's the way I did it. And then these to work to where they're even on the other end. You can see I've got a mark that looks like it's 3 and I can't tell, 3 3/4, 3 7/8 blocks. I got the blocks. All my blocks are measured. And when I do that all the way across, it ends up within 1/8 of an inch at the other end. So, something you'll never see when it's done. And of course, all these welds are welded all the way around. You may not see that. I'm not showing it all. It's just kind of monotonous here, seeing everything. But the idea is to just note they're welded all the way around. And then right here is a little fancy press-on cap. This is what they had before, and it's really thin material, so I'm just getting a couple tacks in to hold that cap on, and that's going to match what they had exactly. One on the other side, and there it is. It's that's complete. It's a pretty good project, 3 pieces on one deal, and then this is just a simple latch. The gate is already hanging on there. The gate is existing, and I just had to put a latch on here to line it all up. All right, got some paint on it right there, primed and painted. All the pieces are done, and there they are installed. That is the gate section, and there is the fence with the gate, and then the dog ramp. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe for more video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.